Joined now by Greece's Minister of Economy and Finance, and that is George Alogoskoufis. Mr. Minister, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
And I want to start by asking you your take, because you are sitting at a very important juncture in Greece. The EU, your economy strengthening, a lot of challenges on your government's plate right now. Ben Bernanke watching the U.S. economy, not signaling another rate cut according to the Fed watchers, dollar weak. From your vantage point in Greece, how does all this affect you?
Well, let's first say that in Europe, any slowdown in the U.S. economy will have a negative effect, although we don't expect the effect on the European economy to be very, very large. Our economies are interdependent, but the European economy is strong. It has been strengthening in the last few months. Any slowdown in the U.S. economy will harm us, but it won't do a lot of damage for us. The question is whether Europe can help the U.S. economy, and there we have to be more uncertain. In Greece and in southeastern Europe, we seem to have acquired a dynamic of our own speed. The economy in Greece is growing quite fast. This is mainly on what is happening in the domestic economy, but also what is happening in the rest of southeastern Europe, in Turkey, in the Balkans. We have a very strong and dynamic economy in all those countries, and this is helping Greece. So the real question is a global question, and for the U.S., of course, it's a question of how the housing market will affect the economy.
We are back with Greece's Minister of Finance, George Alogoskoufis, and I'm sorry if I slaughtered that a little bit.
No, that's all right.
I got to work on my Greek, I guess. Anyway, Mr. Minister, I want to ask you about oil prices, because certainly this is a challenge to many economies. Greece's economy growing about 4%. You're forecasting that. You brought your inflation rate down. Could this oil price increase, though, derail your good growth forecast? Could it ruin your inflation outlook?
Well, it has certainly had an effect on our inflation outlook. So far, the effects on growth do not seem to materialize. Remember that in the last 3 or 4 years, we had huge rises in oil prices. And despite the rises in oil prices, our economies kept growing. Of course, there's always the question, when will it have an effect? But the oil producers, everybody is affected negatively by oil prices, and it's a concern for all economies. It's a concern for Greece. It's a concern for Europe. The strong euro that you mentioned earlier helps us a little bit, but maybe not enough.
You're a little more concerned at $100 a barrel than you were at 80?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Tell us what you're telling your potential investors.
Well, Greece is a good place to invest because the fiscal situation is getting under control. Now we are firmly below the 3% limit in our budget deficit, which all euro area economies have to observe. Fiscal consolidation is progressing well. Growth is very, very fast. We are in a region which is very, very dynamic and very extrovert, a region which in the past used to be a sort of no-go area. The Balkans, Turkey, all those economies are growing very fast. Greece has very close relations, economic and political, gradually with all our neighbors. So we are in the middle of a booming region, a region which I feel will be the next economic miracle in Europe, because growth in this region is almost double growth in the rest of Europe.
Well, thank you. I think we've got something we've got to follow right here on the economy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our thanks to George Alogoskoufis, Greece's Minister of Economy and Finance.